I'd like for us to please introduce your three things. Introduce yourself, um, give me your location, how'd you hear about us, and just a brief synopsis of your background. Okay, Miss Mortimer, let's let you start first since you're the only one
Okay.
to show your picture this morning.
Okay. Yes. I've actually started to embrace the virtual platform a little bit more and less afraid of showing my face. But my name is Haronda Mortimer. I am from, I live in Florida, in Central Florida, in the Sanford area. And how I heard about your program is my cousin is enrolled in one of your, I guess, more advanced programs. His name is Dwayne Alvin or Edwin Alvin. I'm not sure which name
Yes.
he's going by. And he's up in Kentucky, I believe,
Yes.
Tennessee, Kentucky. I know he's on the border.
Yes.
And so that's how I heard about your course, and he spoke very highly about you and just keeping it simple. So we're trying to take advantage of this opportunity. My background, I currently work in public health. I'm a health educator. So so I work in state government. So, but from the sense of providing services through the state. But I also work a little bit with purchasing. So I understand a little bit about the procurement process, but I need to learn more as it pertains to me and how I would actually be the person that's going out for these grants and these opportunities.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you and welcome. Mr. Edge, unmute yourself.
How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you just introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Daniel Edge. I'm working for a company called Deval Lifecycle Support. I'm just here. I was hoping to just learn more. This is my first time filling the role of someone who's looking at government contracts and looking at set-asides. And I'm really new to the landscape, and we're a certified Hubzone and a small business in general. So I was really just kind of looking at how to just better understand when I'm looking through beta.sam or other solicitations, how to just understand what I'm looking at more.
Okay, well, welcome. Where you located?
I am in New Jersey, but I work in Philadelphia, so I cross the bridge every day.
Okay, all right, very good. Miss Sewell, Terry. Can you unmute your phone? Terry? Okay, we're just gonna go to Eric. Eric?
Hola, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. It's great reconnecting with you. I think we've spoken before. The person that introduced us was Colette. Colette used to be with SBC.
Okay.
I'm from Philadelphia. And it looks like she worked with you. And at one point she said I should reach out to you because my background, I do publishing. I publish Fun Times magazine. I'm almost 10 years into publishing of Fun Times in Philadelphia area.
Okay.
It's focused on
and where are you located? And where are you located? Okay. Where are you located?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Gibson.
Yes.
What'd you say?
I don't know. I had to listen to this too.
While I get dressed.
Ms. Tate, since you're online live, can you introduce yourself? Tell us where you're located and a brief background and how you heard about us.
Hi, my name is Sherelle Tate. I'm owner of Chatelain Consulting. It's an event management company. I heard about you guys through an event that I attended about a week ago. And she just mentioned that if you're looking for federal grants or you're looking to how to possibly get federal grants, this is the woman that you need to speak with.
Okay. Well, thank you. And where you located?
In Washington, D.C.
Okay, very good. Ms. Gibson.
Good morning. My name is Tamara
Morning.
Gibson. I am located in Houston, Texas. I am the owner of TT Innovative Solutions, LLC. And I didn't hear quite else what you asked.
Where you located and your
Houston.
background. Mm-hmm.
Houston, Texas. I am a technology coach by profession. And a company does those kinds of things.
Okay, thank you. All right, Miss Olivia.
Uh-oh. Hello.
Hi.
Good morning. My name is Olivia Watford. I'm presently in Atlanta, Georgia, Loganville, and I have been in both the legal industry and I'm currently in the healthcare industry in HR. And I'm just looking to learn more about the entire process and go from there.
Okay, thank you. Miss Taylor. Monifa?
Yes, hello. I'm sorry. I thought I was on mute.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Monifa Taylor, and I am a real estate agent and broker for property management and real estate sales. I am interested in government contracting because I am looking for something new to do, and I thought that this would be a way to make money and also find a different profession.
Okay. But thank you. You're located where?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm located in Stonecrest, Georgia.
Okay, welcome. Miss Castro.
Good
Nella.
morning.
Good morning.
Sorry, let me turn on my camera. Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Nella. I'm in the Washington, D.C. area as well. And I am doing coaching and consulting for career and business coaching. I'm also a school counselor. That's my profession. I've been doing that for over 10 years. And I was actually in the same event that Sherelle was at, where your name was mentioned as far as government contracting. So here I am.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Smith.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. My name is Tina Smith. I'm not a morning person, so you're going to see my picture.
It's a good
I'm from
picture,
Fayetteville,
too.
North Carolina. I'm an instructional designer for a law firm in Raleigh. I've been working from home the last 3 years. I found you on LinkedIn, and so I'm looking to check this program out so that I can learn how to become more independent.
Okay. Well, very good. I think I covered everyone. Did I get everyone? Okay, I got somebody else entering. Miss Robertson. I'll catch her on the other end. I'm going to turn off my video and just go ahead and jump into the presentation because it's a pretty long presentation, but hopefully you'll be able to gather a lot more from it. Okay, give me 1 second and we'll get into this. I am also recording this. So afterwards, if you want a copy of the recording, you can just email me and I'll send it through my Google Drive.
Okay.
All right. So, give me 1 second. You all can see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Welcome to GPI. We are your procurement solutions to this space. Before I begin, I always like to go into my background, understanding so that you get a better understanding of who I am and how I've gotten to this space. I've trained more than 10,000 businesses on how to market to the federal government, assisted small businesses to win more than $200 million in contracts across various industries. My background is unique because after college, my first job was with a company that was a part of the 8A program. How many of you heard of the 8A program? Anybody?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Okay, great.
Yes, I have.
My first job was with a company that was a part of the 8A program doing event planning. I ended up attaching myself to a contract that was a part of the 8A program, and every 3 years, I went to a new company on that same contract. Whereas I ended up going through 6 contracts before I decided to start my own business in '96. The first year in business, I received my first $1 million contract. Second year, I applied into the 8A program, received my second $3 million contract, and continued to grow the business to close to $15 million in contracts and almost 40 employees. And that's where the trouble began, because I had no clue what I was doing. The government was awarding millions of dollars of contracts to my business, and I couldn't read a profit and loss statement. I also had 2 business partners, one who I just called crazy, who felt like he could run all his personal expenses through the business. And the last straw for me was a $3,000 custom-made pinstripe suit with his initials going down the pinstripe. It's like, you have lost your mind. So I had my assistant to do an audit on the credit card, because that's how he was running the personal expenses through the business. He in turn takes her and threatens her. I ended up terminating him. He then conspired with 2 employees to sue me and the other partner for sexual harassment. After $125,000 of attorney fees, $100,000 to buy him out, I had no more operating cash, and I ended up closing the business in 2005. And it really pushed me to my new passion, because I realized no one was training small businesses on how to manage a business on that level. So I volunteered for 2 years as a SCORE counselor, which is a resource partner with SBA. After running out of money, I applied for a position with SBA to service the businesses that were a part of this program. I was hired in the Philadelphia district office. And that office was actually the office that processes all the applications for this program, but my role was to service those businesses. After 4 years in Philadelphia, I wanted to get closer to my home in North Carolina, so I relocated here to the Atlanta district office. And in that position, again, my role was to make sure all businesses that were a part of this program were in compliance. But I also, I feel like I got a PhD at SBA. I got to see the inside of everyone's businesses and what was working and how they were growing their business, which pushed me to leave SBA. The other component of this was I was also certified at SBA as a contract specialist. And for me, that was the icing on the cake, meaning I'd run a business for 10 years. I understood SBA's operations, but I wasn't quite sure exactly the steps that agencies took to actually put that solicitation out for you to compete on. So that kind of pulled all the pieces together. And what I realized working at SBA was that no one at SBA had ever run a business, and even their resource partners. So when you all are trying to get information, you're only getting bits and pieces of that information. This year, I self-published a book based on that first business called business called That's Crazy, Recognize Crazy and Run. Which pushed me to this day. So what I realized in working with small businesses and their challenges, especially as I was working at SBA, they would come in and they would hear the information, and it would be great information, but no one was quite sure on how to connect the dots. Even the government agencies, no one understood SBA's regulations. So it led to a lot of confusion when people were trying to connect the dots in this space. The challenges that happens when small businesses are attempting to win these contracts is understanding the government language, understanding what their processes are, understanding how to determine what certifications are required. And once I understand that, how do I complete these applications and what documents are required? And working inside the government, what I realized is no one talks to each other. No one talks to, the agencies don't talk to each other, and which means a lot of these websites aren't connected to really help you create a process or a formula of marketing to the government. So leaving SBA in 2015, I combined business and the government to create a process that helps businesses navigate this space. And it was based on my lessons learned. The first lesson that I learned in that first business is not to limit your business. Most of us will start a business on our skill set. Once I started winning those $1 million contracts, it had nothing to do with my skill set. So, and my mentor pulled me aside and asked me, why are you pigeonholing yourself in event planning? And when he said that, it made sense based on those 6 companies that I had previously gone through and watching them succeed. So I changed my business model from being an event planning company to a management consulting firm. And then I created divisions. I had an event planning division, I had an IT division, I had a publication division, and I had a database division. And once I created those divisions, I started winning contracts in those areas. So in the first part of our program, Business Ready module, we concentrate on you doing the market research and creating a business model that's not necessarily based on your skill set. The second component to this is understanding that collaboration is key. You cannot do this by yourself. The government sets up these contracts, and even with SBA's program, they understand small businesses can't do this by themselves, so they've created programs that help small businesses collaborate. But what I've learned, even though SBA has these programs, no one's teaching businesses how to collaborate. So in our second module, we put you into teams and you learn how to go after these opportunities collectively. So when I look at the amount of people that are online today, I look at that as one contract. If we learn how to pool our resources and our skill sets together, it's better. There's power in numbers. The third thing is you must have an infrastructure. Anybody know what I mean by infrastructure?
Yes, knowing all of the pieces. Yes, knowing how all of the pieces of your company work. Is that what you mean?
You heard I said I got sued, right?
Yes.
Your accounting, your HR. If you are currently employed and you have employees, I would recommend that you make sure you have employment, practice, liability insurance. That is employment, practice, liability insurance. Had I had that insurance, that would have covered any lawsuit. No one told me. So my whole program is based on what I wish someone would have told me in that first business. So and so often we concentrate on getting the money and getting the contracts and getting the business, but the business is only as good as that infrastructure. If you don't have a proper accounting system, you don't have your HR, understand what's included in your HR, then you're defeating yourself out the gate. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it does.
So when you look at the federal government operates on a fiscal year, meaning their fiscal year starts October 1st to September 30th. And what happens during that time before they pass their budget, the government operates on what they call a continuing resolution, meaning they have not been fully funded. So the best time to market directly to those agencies is generally between October to February or March, because most of the agencies don't have their money right now, and they're more apt to have conversations with you. The closer they get to September, they're not trying to talk to you. Generally from June to September, that's when most awards are made, because again, they're trying to get rid of their money. When I was in DC, we called it Christmas time because we knew at the end of the last quarter that the government was going to be awarding mass contracts. So why should you look at federal contracts? You want to look at federal government contracts is because every agency will have government set goals, meaning 23% of contracts are set aside for small businesses, 5% for women-owned, 5% for small disadvantaged businesses, 3% if you're service disabled, veteran-owned, and 3% for a Hubzone. The more certifications that you have, the more you're helping those agencies meet their goals. As an example, let's say an agency awarded a contract to you for $100,000. You're a small business. That agency now gets $100,000 credit towards their goals. Let's say you're a small business and woman-owned. Now that agency gets $200,000 credit towards their goals. The more certifications you have, the more you helping that agency achieve their goals. And as you can see over here, SBA scores these agencies as a whole. And you can see the amount of dollars that have been awarded to each of these programs, which is still a whole lot of money. So your goal and what we teach in the classes, maybe target some of those agencies that did not achieve their goals. So you can see here, if you're in the Hubzone, most agencies as a whole did not meet their 3% goal. So as a strategy, you'll be targeting those agencies. What I also realized is outside of that, are you all still not seeing, are you all seeing my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Eric said he's not seeing the screen. What I realized outside of the DC area, most people don't have a clue about government contracts. And that's based on the number of businesses that are registered in SBA's database. So if you look at the DMV area, especially as it relates to the 8A program, you can see it's a lot of businesses in those programs. When I moved here to Georgia and even in Philadelphia, the number of businesses that were in these programs were minor. And so what you find is people from the DMV area, especially here in Georgia, was coming here to win contracts because there's no competition. So I would tell the businesses here in Georgia, look at the surrounding states. You can see there's no competition in these programs. And anywhere there's a military base, there's a federal courthouse, there is a government contract. What I did here was just do a synopsis of the agencies that were awarding contracts in the 8A program here in Georgia. These are the dominant agencies, and you can see it's a whole lot of money being dedicated in this program. And to prove my point, I also pulled some data that demonstrate who was actually winning the contracts here in Georgia. And you can see out of the 25 are the only ones that were winning contracts, but they were still winning a whole lot of money. This company right here, HRC, I worked with them while I was at SBA. They are graduating from the program. So what we train businesses to do is partner or look at these contracts that these firms have received in the program, because after they graduate from the program, they cannot receive those contracts. So it's part of strategy. These are the industries that the agencies are awarding contracts over, and we go into depth about these codes. Most people don't even understand NAICS codes and what they mean. So those that are in the real estate space, if you are using the real estate broker code, you will not be accepted into the program. You will need to modify your code on your tax return to a code that's going to be acceptable into the program. And what I tell businesses, which is completely opposite from SBA's resource partners. Resource partners will tell you to start locally, stay in your lane, and then go to the federal government because you're not ready to manage projects on the federal side. And I say to them, that doesn't make sense because this is the website where opportunities are posted. And there's not enough competition out there. There's not enough small businesses to win these contracts. So you're not competing with a whole lot of people on the federal side. The government also have $250,000 of contracts that they set aside that are specifically designated for small businesses. So we train you on how to target those types of contracts so that you can at least get an understanding of the process on a smaller scale. I've also just pulled out a couple of opportunities that I saw posted last week. And so even though I'm not in holistic health and fitness, does not mean I could not go after this contract. In this space, and this is where the shift comes of being a CEO, your goal is to find the people to work on the contract. I don't have to know anything about that contract to win that contract. Can y'all hear me? Can I get an amen on that?
Amen.
Your goal
Amen.
is to
Amen.
find the people with the skill set. That's all it is. This is another one. Anti-racism training. These are low-hanging fruits, meaning all you need to do is find someone that can provide this training, send them to that place, and now you're getting paid. Now, when you look at these certifications, you can certify in this database, Systems for Awards Management. You self-certify as a small business, as a veteran-owned, service disabled, and a small disadvantaged business. Although most agencies do not use this certification because once you're in this program, you're automatically classified as a SDB. There are only 3 programs that require formal certifications, meaning you have to submit an application to SBA and be approved by SBA. The 8A program is strictly a business development program. SBA is looking at it from two aspects primarily, whether you're socially and economically disadvantaged. You're in this program for 9 years. And by being in this program, it allows you to go to any federal agency and they can award contracts to your business up to $4 million with no competition. Those are called sole source contracts. Do I need to repeat that? Can I get a hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
No competition. This is how we begin to change the gap. This is how we create generational wealth. My mentor in DC got into the program, and in 6 years, he built his business up and sold it for $27 million. Now, that's how we begin to create the generational wealth. What I also realized is people get into this program and don't have a clue. And you only have one time to be in this program. And what I was finding at SBA is most businesses will get their 8A certification and they will not win a contract until their 4th or 5th year, which means you've wasted 5 years. My goal is to make sure that you go in with a game plan and you're maximizing the whole 9 years. The Hubzone program is based on communities. That program is designed to build communities. As long as your business is located in one of those areas that's been identified as a hub zone, and 35% of your employees reside in a hub zone, then you can qualify into that program. For the 8A program, the social component of it, as long as you're a member of any one of these ethnic groups and you're a US citizen, you automatically meet the social component. The economic component is based on your personal net worth. SBA is going to look at your tax returns and look at your adjusted gross income. I'm so happy that they just increased this amount this summer. It used to be $250,000 that SBA would look at. Now it's $750,000. So as long as your adjusted gross income does not exceed $750,000 minus any equity in your home and any equity in your business, then you meet the economics criteria for the program. The other kept secret to this program is if you have a record, but you're not on probation or parole, you can start a business and get into this program. And to me, this is another way to give those who have touched that system another way to start supporting their families and re-entering back into the community. The Hubzone program, it applies to, again, any purchases over $3,000. You must be certified by SBA. There are no term limits associated with that program. You recertify every year, and you also have the opportunity to obtain competitive and sole source contracts in this program as well. The difference with this program and the 8A program, in order for an agency to award a sole source contract to your business, you have to, they have to make sure that there are at least 2 companies that are qualified in that program to perform on that contract. They call that the rule of 2, and it applies to all the other programs outside of the 8A. With the 8A, you can just go in, and because you're part of that program, they can award a sole source contracts. Whereas this program, they have to make sure there are at least 2 businesses that are qualified to perform on that contract. The agency also will give you what they call a 10% price evaluation preference, meaning anyone who compete or submit their bid that's outside of the program, the government's going to add a 10% price onto their bid. As an example, if you are in the in the Hubzone program and you submit your bid at $535,000, another business outside of the program submit their bid at $500,000. The government's going to add 10% onto that $500,000 bid, making that bid $550,000. Therefore, you win because your price does not change at the $535,000. 35% of your employees must live in a hub zone. And so when I look at this program, I like to equate it to what Magic Johnson did. Anybody know what Magic Johnson did? Anybody?
Yeah, he built the movie theaters in the hood, basically.
Exactly, it's the same philosophy. He built within the urban communities and he hired within the communities. The whole goal is to build up those communities. For the women's program, it's broken into two components: economically disadvantaged and just the women's program. Once you qualify as an economically disadvantaged woman on, you're automatically a WOSB. This program is still, to me, relatively new. It came into existence when I was in Philadelphia in 2012. What was interesting was, soon as it became law, the majority of the calls was coming from the husbands, trying to see how they can get their wives in that position. It used to be a self-certification, but as of October 15th, it will now require a formal certification for businesses. So what we're encouraging businesses to do is to go ahead and start applying now. So come October 15th, you're not necessarily going to be caught up in the bottleneck with everyone else. You can self-certify, and you can also go through a third-party certifier. There is a fee associated with that. So beta.certified.sba.gov is the actual website that you would go to self-certify right now. In order to participate in the women's program, is minimum requirement. All of these programs require 51% ownership. You must manage the day-to-day operation, make long-term decisions, hold the highest position, and sometimes you can get around as full-time working, doing normal working hours based on your industry. So if it's IT, you don't necessarily have to work during normal working hours. And then there's no minimum amount of time the business have to be operational. For the veterans program, you self-certify in SAM, but if you are doing business with the VA, you must be certified at vetbiz.gov. There's no term limits associated with this program, and you also, again, get the opportunity for competitive and sole source contracts. The other component to this is any large business that receive a contract of $750,000 or more, they have to come up with a subcontracting plan on how they're going to achieve their goals as well. So you're looking at subcontracting as well as prime and direct contracts. I'm going to go to a couple of websites so that you can get a feel and see how things are transferred. I wanted to provide you with an example. This young lady came in as a real estate agent. And what I realized in the real estate agent, real estate space, they do a lot of things. So we first had to come in and create a divisions. It's all perception. So that it's not necessarily placing her in just the real estate. And so looking at what businesses do or the real estate agents do just to sell that house, it was easy to create these divisions. You're dealing with a lot of administrative paperwork. So just create an administrative division. You're dealing with a lot of documents. That's documents preparation, records management. Those are things that, again, you're speaking the government language, but you may not even know that's what you're doing. But there are opportunities out just based on these key words. When she's holding an open house, to me, that's event planning. So why not sell that? You have to do a lot of training when you're training people to buy houses. Just create a division. You're dealing with a lot of vendors. You're dealing with janitors and roofers and people to get that house sold. So those same vendors that you're using, you're going to put them on your team and look for opportunities that now you're getting paid and you're just hiring those janitors. I recommend everybody have IT. IT is going to be a part of every business. So might as well sell it. And then she's also kept her background in the real estate space. This website I'm going to take you to is FPDS. It's actually going to go away in 13 days, but we're going to work with it for now. This is the government's checkbook. Anytime they award a contract, modify a contract, is posted to this database. If you go back over this database right here, you can download the actual contracts awards that have been made during this COVID-19. So you can get a feel of what the agencies are buying, who's buying, and who's winning. Over here, I like to put in an example of one of our students. She came in November of 18, and by September of last year, she'd won 6 contracts. And this is the low-hanging fruit that I'm talking about. Here you can see this was a contract for laundry services. It's a 5-year contract for laundry services in, you see she's in Georgia, in Hawaii. Is she in Hawaii doing laundry? Absolutely not. She's finding somebody that has that skill set. I don't think she's doing is picking up the uniforms off of the ship. And you can see here, it was only 2 people that she was competing with. This other one that I like that she won was the government needed a 2-day meeting space. She found the meeting space. The hotel's cost was $48,000. She put her bid in at $104,000. This was a short project, right? It was awarded September. It ended, it was awarded in July. It ended September. She got paid $60,000 profit off of this one bid. And you can go down here and see, it was just meeting space. And she is the only one that submitted the offer. So it's understanding how to leverage this game. Now the young lady, Libra Management, we had to change her business name to a DBA, but she's still Libra Realty. And I'm so proud of this young lady. She started this game in 2015, and she's probably doing about 35 million in this space. And you can see the agencies over here. And one of her first contracts, and this, she's just staffing the office at CDC, moving chairs. She just has a person there. The one that her very first contract was this one. This was $3 million, and this was testing monkeys in the lab. This was an 8A sole source. They were testing monkeys with HIV at CDC lab. She just picked up the contract because the company that had it graduated from the program. She just hired the same people that was working on that contract for the last 10 years to continue working on that contract for $3.5 million. Over here, I will also encourage you to look at this website as well. They're pulling the data from FPDS, but this website is a little more user-friendlier. You can go in and you can drill down by states. It's going to show you, based on your state, where the money is flowing. So let's go to Pennsylvania. Since we have a couple in Pennsylvania, it shows you how much money is being awarded, and it breaks it down not only by contracts and grants. It breaks it all down. So you can get a general feel. If I'm looking at contracts, who's buying what under what NAICS code. Now, so often we get confused between grants and contracts. People always call me at SBA and ask, can I get a grant to start my business? No, SBA does not give grants. And grants are geared towards nonprofits. Grants are geared towards the community. And the game that you have to understand is going into business is really about your tax shelter. That's why you hear everybody fussing about the 1%. I'm not mad about the 1%. We just have to learn the game. So I understand that grant side because I had a contract where we processed grants. So for me, I was like, okay, so this is how this grant side, this side worked. And so I created a nonprofit because I knew when my for-profit started making money, I wanted a tax shelter. And I could dump it into that nonprofit, but I could also get grants under that nonprofit. Folks that are in that nonprofit space, that's a little harder to start up because you're always looking for funding. So to me, it made sense if I had my for-profit up and running. Now that for-profit can support that nonprofit, and I'm getting a tax benefit from it. Does that make sense to y'all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So it's understanding the game. We're just so far out of the game. So the reason I created GPI is because I wanted to create a community. And in here, we have almost 1,257 people. And my goal is us to understand, once you go through this program, now everyone's speaking the same language, and we're no longer having to compete with each other. So if I'm here in Georgia and I see a contract in California, there's no reason that you can't reach out to someone that's gone through the program about collaboration. I am a strong believer of collaboration. So in the back office, in the back office, this is where you're able to search for certifications based on where they're located. My goal, again, is to break down of us having to compete with each other, but understand the power of collaboration. My goal is to take over. Amen.
Amen.
And
Okay. So as you look at my program, the program is broken down into 3 modules that are 8 weeks each. An hour a week online based on if you're taking the live, or we have it now on demand where you're not meeting weekly, but you're meeting twice a month. After the first module, your business would be registered to do business with the government, and that's when we're encouraging you to start competing on those contracts that are $250,000 and below, just like I showed you with the other student. The second module is more about strategy. Now that you've registered, how do I leverage my certifications? How do I partner with some of these 8A companies that are graduating? How do I position myself for these contracts? And then the third module is geared around the All Small Mentor Protege program, and for those who qualify for the 8A program. The All Small Mentor Protege program is a beautiful program because what it does, it allows a large business to come in and mentor you. And a lot of small business will say, well, I'm just 1 or 2 persons. Why would a large business want to mentor me? If you go back to those goals and the amount of money that were awarded in these programs, money is money. So you're providing a vehicle for them to get access to those dollars. But at the same time, the program is designed for that large business to help build your infrastructure. It makes sense to me. Now you're leveraging their resources, their relationships to help grow your business. But the goal is you have to be able to speak their language and understand their language. If you register today, I will apply a $100 discount. You just have to send an email to me. I do allow you to team up with other people to try to offset some of the costs. If you're interested in the live instructor, I'll actually increase that to $200 discount today for the live program. The classes will start October 19th. We're having 2 based on the workload for, the number of people who've registered in the last couple of months. We've been maxing out these classes, so we decided to roll out 2. From 8 to 9:30 p.m. Everything is recorded. You do have lab and homework assignments. This does require commitment. You can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And my goal is to create CEOs and to make sure by the time you leave this program, you understand the game. And everybody don't make it through the 3 modules. I like to think of it as pledging. Everybody don't cross the burning sands, and it's okay because it is a lot of work to manage a business. And if you can't get through the 24 weeks, maybe you're not ready to be that CEO, and that's okay. But at least you have the tools. The on-demand self-paced, that's going to start Thursday from 8 to 8:45. You meet twice a month. The sessions are pre-recorded. So you listen to the session, you still have the same process of completing lab and homework assignments each week, but you just don't have a live instructor. You'll have that live instructor twice a month. I also offer direct services, which includes the program and extra coaching sessions after you complete the program. And that concludes this presentation. And I like to always go around and get people's takeaways. All right. Daniel, Edge, what's your takeaway?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot I learned. So for the last few months, I've been going on like beta.sam and kind of like looking at solicitations and just looking at the set-asides, like seeing if it was like a small business set-aside or a Hubzone set-aside, whatever. But I guess I didn't realize how much actually went into it and how many more websites there are that can kind of get you on a better track to what you're looking at and how to obtain it. And this was wonderful for me in that sense. I feel rejuvenated, like I can go on to beta.sam or USA Spending, or sometimes I go on Dibs a lot. And now I can actually understand what I'm looking at in a way that makes more sense, because it might sound silly because I'm kind of new to my role, but I never knew like what makes an 8A business or like I know our company is a Hubzone, but I didn't know why we're a Hubzone. And you explained that clearly. And it's probably something I should have already known. But, you know, for whatever reason, I'm learning so much every day. It just kind of slipped my mind. And now I can go in there with a better understanding of the landscape. And I love that. And I really appreciate this class. And I definitely want to learn more.
Very good. Thank you. Miss Taylor, Monifa.
Well, some of the takeaways were, one, you mentioned I'm in the real estate business, and I do property management as well. And so having the business name and the code having to change, that was a takeaway because I did not know that we would have to do that. So that's something that I didn't know. Also, being able to understand like having divisions, I thought that was really key because I do wear a lot of hats and I do a lot of organizational work in addition to the real estate. And so that's, you know, other divisions and, you know, and not having to actually be in the exact field that you go to after the contract for. So I thought that was really powerful too.
Very good. Thank you. Miss Tate.
This was amazing for the Saturday morning. I was taking notes. It started with the employment practice liability insurance. We'll definitely be looking into that. I also wrote down what you mentioned about marketing yourself to agencies between October to March, because they're less likely to try to speak to you between June to September or closer to September, you mentioned. Also, usaspending.gov, I was not familiar with that, so that was also a great takeaway. Grants versus contracts, I did not know that grants are more specific to nonprofit / community, but now that you said it, I'm thinking to myself, okay, that makes sense, because whenever I hear a grant, it is often tied to a nonprofit organization. And so this was really great for me this morning because this is something that I'm thinking about doing with my business, also having a nonprofit eventually. But my business is still a baby, so I'm working towards it. But this has been really great.
Very good, very good. All right, Miss Robertson, Fatima.
Thank you, Miss Paula. I'm so glad my girlfriend invited me to this call. She told me about it. I missed the first one right before this one, so I had the alarm so I was not going to miss it today. She's Dr. Lisa Nelson Wade, and she has been telling me about the program. I thank you because the information was presented clearly and concisely. It's definitely something that I'm looking to move into or move toward. I definitely believe that this is possible. My father was a procurement clerk for the government, and he's told me that there's a lot of money that the government has, the federal government has, that is available, and it's certainly possible to win in a situation like this. So I thank you for taking this on, and I'll definitely look forward to engaging with you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Smith.
My takeaway, oh my gosh, I was taking notes as fast as you were putting out the information. I really probably need to request that slide deck because I'd like to go over all the information that you shared. It was just an abundance. I am hoping to use that information to try to launch my own startup, but you've given me some great starting points as far as what to do with your company structure, how to set things up, who to contact, what an 8A is, just a bunch of information that I probably would have missed had I not joined this webinar this morning. So thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome. Ms. Gibson, thank you.
Yes, I put in the chat while you were just talking, probably on slide 3, that this was awesome information. I, just like Ms. Tate, had a different understanding concerning grants and contracts. I am IT related, and so that bit of information on changing the wording was awesome, as well as your information that you provided about, getting certified before that other process goes on as a woman-owned business.
Thank you. Ms. Mortimer.
Good morning, and thank you again. My takeaways from this presentation are basically there's a lot of opportunity that is out there. In addition, collaboration is so important. I've heard a number of people on this call in itself being in real estate, event planning, IT. So it sounds like, again, what your concept of starting from within and partnering is super important. And again, just those details about just the entire process and making sure that you have the infrastructure and making sure that you're looking at those low-hanging fruit, because we often want to get those $1 million contracts. We start really lofty, which is fine because we want to be lofty in our expectations, but there's oftentimes opportunities that we can grasp a little bit more easily. So I thank you for all the information, and if anyone is interested in partnering and splitting the cost, I'm not sure how we would do that.
Go ahead and put it in the chat.
Okay, yes, ma'am. And I thank you so much for this opportunity.
Okay, very good, very good. Miss Olivia. Olivia, unmute yourself. Okay, we're going to go on until you unmute. And Miss Terry. There you go. What was your takeaway, Terry? I don't think your volume is up. Oh, her microphone is not working. She didn't realize the vast merit opportunities that are out there. And we get to let Eric close it out.
This has been a game changer,
We can barely hear you.
Yeah, I said this is a game changer, I have been flirting with the idea of connecting with you and getting involved, but I think this is a time for action. So I appreciate the opportunity of listening to you.
Thank you. And my goal is I've already gone through the war. My goal is to create millionaires and that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And that's what you'll consistently hear me say. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's enough money out here for everyone. But if we collectively pool our resources together, we can take over. That's my goal. All right, I think I got everyone. Fatima asked how the split work, the splitting the program work. You all will have to get together with each other and decide how you want it to be paid. It will be 2. I hope that answered the question. Well, with that being said, unless anyone else has any questions, that concludes today's presentation.
Thank you
All right.
again, Ms. Watts. It's been a wonderful morning this morning, listening to your information and gaining some insight.
Okay, and I'll send the recording. Just make sure you email. I want to make sure I get everyone about the recording, and I'll email it through my Google Drive. Okay.
Yes.
All
This
right.
is this is Monifa. I just wanted to thank you so much. This was a great morning and great information. And I thank you for your time and energy and effort and enthusiasm in doing this and your willingness to help us. I mean, this is wonderful. And like you said, there's, this space is grand and there was no one there to connect the dots. So I truly appreciate you understanding that that was a need and feeling it and helping everyone or people to be able to navigate this space. So I definitely appreciate you.
And my goal is for our future. I want you all, those that hear, if you do the work, and you'll never hear me guarantee that you're going to win all these millions of dollars after you finish this process. I will never do that because you have to do the work. But I know it does work, which when you put it in, and it's for our future. It's for the great grandchildren that we don't know anything about. We've got to change the dynamics of where we're going. We can keep protesting, we can keep marching, but you can't do anything if you don't have no money. So I need you all to get in it and just get some of this money back and understanding that these government contracts, these are your tax dollars. And I think that's where the missing gap is. We don't look at this being our tax dollars, and understanding how to leverage it. And for me, I got it at 25. I was like, oh, okay, all this money, because even doing event planning for the government, I was doing event planning with White House. I had a conference that had to do with the White House. So I was not just coordinating that event. I started sitting inside and it's like, oh, okay, this is how that money flows. And understanding that that's our tax dollars, but nobody understands even how the government is structured and how that money flows down and how they take your tax dollars and create these contracts. So my goal is to make sure you understand the game, and especially for that 8A program. There is no other program that is designed to build your business. For 9 years, you get access to contracts with no competition. And before, I'm gonna leave y'all on this one, I'm gonna go back to that website. Because this is really the secret sauce, especially for those who qualify into the 8A program. Over here, again, is all the contracts that are posted each year. And down here, I can select the last 2 fiscal years. And right here, type of set aside. What do y'all see? Does that mean anything to y'all when you see this right here?
The certification you're talking about, 8A.
It means these
No competition.
No competition.
And these contracts will never, ever be posted on beta. There's no need because it's sole source. They don't have to advertise that. So you look at the amount of contracts that were awarded in the last two fiscal years under that program. So what we train you to do is understanding when these contracts, you see the dollar amounts, it's a lot of money. So let's look here. So what we do is position you see how far out some of these contracts are, is for you to look at all these contracts that are coming up, let's say next year, that are ending in 2021, right? Hold on, I'm trying to get to 2021. So now you're going to be able to position yourself for next year and partnering with these companies if they're no longer eligible to keep them. This becomes your marketing plan. Hold on, it's still slow. So let me show you one other thing. Okay, let's get some with some money on it. Let's do this one. Let's say this company right here. That contract is ending in 2022. I can actually go in and see all about this contract. It was awarded, it was a 5-year contract. This is the company that has it. It tells me it's actually the potential is 6 million. And you can see the progression of the contract. And this is facility access control. So they're just doing some type of security. And it shows you the company. It was only one. It was an 8A sole source. But I can now also take this company's information and you see this is what you'll get in the first module. You'll get a DUNS number because that's how they track you. I can take that company's information and go to SBA's database and actually put that company's number in here. And it's going to show me when that company is graduating. So this is the company out of Wisconsin. And if I go in and look at her profile, it's going to show me when that company is graduating. It's moving kind of slow. So that company graduates in 2023. So what that does for me is try to team with that company, knowing that they're no longer eligible to keep that contract. And maybe they can start subcontracting to me on that contract before she graduates. That allows me enough time to get in that program, and I have the experience on that contract, so they can just flip it when I apply into the program. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
So now you got a marketing plan for the next 2 or 3 years. The only thing you're going to be doing is following these contracts that the rest of the world can't see and positioning yourself. All right. And so I'm also going to look to see exactly how much has she actually won. So I can use that same DUNS number and put it in here. And it's going to bring me all her contracts. So she's done quite well. So if I go here, I can download all of her contracts and see, well, how much did she really make in this space? Because I'm also looking at teaming partners and potential mentors. So if I go here, it shows me, and you can kind of look at this and see when they got into the game. So I always go in and like to filter newest to oldest. And you see the negative in here because this is the government's checkbook. So they may have to modify and back out contracts if money wasn't spent or reallocated to a different areas. So if I go down here at the bottom, it's going to tell me how many contracts this person has won. So she's done about 111 million. And you can see when she started. So she got in the 8A program, she graduated in 2023, somewhere along here. And you can see how she is progressing with the contract awards. And it's not pigeonholing herself, right? You see over here, these the industries. She got graphics. She's doing court reporting. But a lot of it was just graphic designs. And then as she's getting ready to get closer, so she's capitalizing on the program. She's getting more IT contracts that are larger. So it's just studying this stuff and creating a plan. Yeah, this makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a whole lot of money, huh? All right, you guys, I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate you for taking the time with me on this Saturday morning, and I hope you become a part of the community. And have a
Thank
great.
you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you. Have a great day.